keyboard and some tea. Lives a man with a funnel plan as clever as can be. He ditched his law degree for plugins that go zing. Now WooCommerce dances every time he pulls a string. Hey, evil genius, he's got a plugin.
It is. Hey guys, Spence. First of all, I forgot the most important part. The audience, the studio audience. Thank you, everybody. Okay. Hey, it's happy Black Friday day. Today, I'm actually going to do a Black Friday setup and chill. I hope you guys had a nice day. If you're in the United States and you celebrate Thanksgiving, it is at my sister's house. She and her husband do a great spread, and all the kids, not all the kids, 60% of the kids all showed up because most of them are adults now around the world. But we just had a really nice night, tried not to overeat, ended up watching my favorite genre of movies are the 90s and early 2000s rom-coms. So we watched all of us Serendipity with John Cusack, Kate Beckinsale, a couple others. It was just a reminder of a simpler time. There was cell phones, early days, but there was not computers focused on this. There was not AI. There was not the world's feeling of, pending doom all the time and so forth. And it was just a nice way to chill out. Obviously, I hope you guys had fun with your family. Today's purpose is I didn't drink this year, so I'm in the feeling good mode, but I want to just talk about the stuff that we're selling. I had a pretty good Black Friday so far, but today is, and through Monday, is the last of my initial offering of the FluentMCP. I want to explain what's going on with that. I also want to explain the updates on some of the components and things, because this has been for me a remarkably wonderful last 6 months since July for what I'm building. And part of it is mental, part of it's emotional, part of it is tactical, part of it is software. We are undeniably now moving into a space where if you are not using desktop agentic tools or agentic tools in general, I don't understand how you're going to be competitive. I think if you are, your world is an amazing new place. We've got these opportunities now for everybody to take advantage of what there is in the way of getting stuff done. Let me just run that, but not have the sound on. And if you're using these tools, the opportunities that are presenting themselves are amazing. I've had this last month alone, half a dozen of my really, friend customer clients launch new ideas, new businesses. Several of them have gone live, and they're things that even I could not have built in such a short time frame. But these are being built and launched by actual real people themselves. All right. So let's take a chill. I still, by the way, you're going to notice Spence is going to kick in. I just started drinking my coffee. So you're going to see me go from super chill to, oh my God, caffeinated chill. Let's do a conversation, but then I'm going to share the screen. First of all, what exactly is there that I'm offering? I think that's important. I'm not going to be salesy today. And by the way, if you're watching, there's a few of you say if the audio and video is good, just to let me know. It seems like it is because nobody has told me otherwise. I'm going to show you a few pages, and let me do this today. I'm going to go to the browser instead of the whole screen. And I'm sure I'm going to switch back and forth because I'm loving StreamYard and their new features, but they definitely, they don't have the one feature yet, even though I'm a premium customer, that I would really love, which would be, could I please set up multiple, good morning, Julie. Could I please set up multiple browsers and things? I can only get one of each. And so I oftentimes have to do this little dance. So I'm sorry for that. All right, by the way, and Julie hopefully will let me know if you had any luck from our last session. I'm going to talk about one of the methodologies that Julie and I have been working on, as well as some of my other clients. That is to say, what if we could introduce a way for me and my guys to interact with you and your guys? And I mean guys, it could be girls. I don't know what you want to call your people. but your dudes, your dudettes. Good morning, Lloyd. And all right, thank you very much for that. And I hope you did as well. I love this day. This weekend is so super duper chill. Historically, I get 200,000 emails from everybody about their 30-40% off, which I love. But for me, I don't do, here's a percentage off sale. What I do is I usually introduce a new product or a service, and I do it as like, get it first try. And then if it works, which most of the time it has, I make it the appropriate price according to the value, and everybody else who gets in early wins. So even if you guys are my MinuteLaunch customers, these things might have some relevance to you. Sorry about the coffee break. All right, first of all, I successfully used at WP Launchify some of the new tools and techniques that I'm also going to exemplify. That is, when we are building, and I'll go to the top of the page for now. When we are building in 2025 and beyond, I can 100% say that you do not need anymore a page builder to rely upon for the bulk of what you're producing. That's a pretty bold statement. We are still using WordPress under the hood. We are still using the output of Gutenberg. But what I'm saying is you do not need to use an extra page builder. Even though technically we have cadence and cadence blocks, you do not need, when you're using the setup I'm promoting here, you don't need Divi, you don't need Elementor, you don't need Beaverbuilder. You definitely do not need to get all these add-ons. In fact, they will be counterproductive. And why? Because the output of any page like this is HTML and CSS. I mean, and there's some JavaScript. If I use the Chrome Inspector, you can see, look, it's HTML, kids. Look, on the right side, it's CSS, kids. That's just the language of the web browser. There is included in some of this things that we can see like sources. And if we inspected some of these, and I'm getting a little geeky, we will see that there is some JavaScript. And if we track the performance and the network, we can actually see the loading of various JavaScript sometimes. But JavaScript can run inside of your HTML block. My point is, the tools that the Chrome browser or other browsers use to paint the actual page are HTML and CSS with a little JavaScript to make it look and act fun. Those things can be delivered directly now using our buddies. So instead of needing a human tool to create the layouts, the concept number one is that we are successfully making the buddies create all of our stuff. And in fact, I have several guys that are working for me that are doing that every day when they make the emails, when they make my spencerforeman.com pages. And we've talked about this before, but just to remind you, I am no longer using any page builders or Gutenberg blocks, none, cold turkey. And Julie and I now want to see her results, had a conversation about some of the revelations I had this week with Neil and a few other clients, where even for complex front-end outputs, we simply do not need to use a page builder. So I'm making this whole long diatribe simply to say, this is a fundamental shift on how we produce stuff. Why? Because you need to mentally remove yourself from thinking that your job is to design pages using page builders anymore. That stop on the train has been closed. The station is closed in Spencer Formanville. Let me, by the way, show you. If I look at one of these posts, which look and feel exactly like I want them to, okay, all this great content, and it's got the stuff that gets picked up by the MCPs. I'm sorry, that gets picked up by the LLMs that are training themselves and then putting the content into something that can connect with an MCP. If I look at the post, this is just a MinuteLaunch canvas block. Or in this case, I'm actually using old-fashioned HTML blocks, which is fine. The point is, look, no page builders, kids. And by the way, what was I talking about? I mean, if I wanted to use the MinuteLaunch canvas block, which I just don't need to use here, I just type, oh, I don't have it on this site. That's why. I don't even have it on this site. But the point is, I'll show you in another site, I can output that. If I did new page here, I could take that block, right, from this other post, and I could reproduce it instantly, because when you're dealing with the end result in its native language, look, a clone of that post. All I need to do is, and I like the MinuteLaunch Canvas Black because it gives me editorial tools that I can use. If I paste that, look, I can just see how easy this is? Watch. And I can just go, I want to edit this a little bit. Okay, fine. The Spence Entrepreneur's Triple Whammy. You see, this is super light. I can take this HTML and go online text editor. And I can go to any online text editor, and this is valid code, right? This is not a good text editor. Let's pick a better one. Let's do it online. I would do online HTML editor. And I'm only showing this just to show this point, and I promise I won't belabor this anymore. When we move into this world, everything becomes easier, right? When we can take the output from our dudes and modify it and save it, now we can actually go into complex stuff. We can have full-blown personal web applications. That is stuff that would have otherwise required a lot of back-end processing, a lot of hitting up the database, a lot of making 1,000 calls very slowly back and forth like Buddy Boss has to do. And we can shift into a new economy of how to do this. So let me see if I have those pages I want to show you from Neil that I was working on. I don't remember the URLs of them, but I'll be able to find them here. Because these were really remarkable in terms of what we were able to accomplish. If you can imagine a database of maybe 489 speakers. I got Stuart stuff. Let's see here. Here we go. So hopefully I'm still logged in this website too, so I'll show you the back end. With this particular site, let's say we have 489 speakers. We have a custom plugin that is outputting, essentially, you can see here's speakers. This is just a custom plugin that has custom post type it created. We didn't use ACF Pro. Speakers, articles, videos, a few other things. If I look at any of these particular speakers on the front end, we can now use this capability to make something really pretty amazing. This is a dynamically generated and output layout done by the dudes. Now, there's a lot of speakers, and we can change the look and the feel of this, which is remarkable too. And you'll notice it's responsive. If I were to scale this, it handles all of this incredibly well. This whole thing is just a little HTML and CSS with JavaScript. And to me, that's remarkable because of two things. First of all, like if we look at any particular speaker, they also have their single speaker page, right? And this has related content. This has, rollovers and interesting JavaScript and effects and all this sort of thing. This is like this much stuff on the front end. So the concept is we're able to take the data on the back end using the dude's help, make simple post types to store stuff in WordPress. Old fashioned, easy. We take that data and to display it on the front end now, we simply are using JavaScript and CSS instead of having to write all kinds of custom templates. And even things like faceted search, if I type, Sam or, Julie or Judy or anything, all of this is capable. All right. So takeaway number one, I'm using that in all my methodologies, including here at WP Launchify, where I successfully was able to onboard several customers this week, where I just sent them to this, go on over to my pricing menu. And this dynamically allows somebody, for example, to talk to the actual shop cart, which is WooCommerce, using an interface that is not on the checkout page, but it's able to add the products and services dynamically, right? So in this case, You click a button, it tells you that it's adding, it says it's updating, it's sending the info and getting back the info from the database, but doing it from the browser. And in this case, they added a VIP service. And when I want to change this, I just tell the dude, let's change it. Okay, so let's pause. And what did I just give you? Number one, MinuteLaunch is now displayed properly as my primary product. And this still has the software bundle under the hood. That's still essential to what we do. There are still 125 or so plugins that are available along with the free LaunchKit Pro Manager. You need to log into the manager to use it for the higher end features, but the plugin itself is free, and it has other capabilities like cleaning up the WordPress ecosystem from all that spray paint of advertisement and stuff from other people. But this is 125 or so plugins. This list is shrinking. I can 100% guarantee you, because I'm using it already, and the other site, as I'll show you, I'm using Fluent Affiliate. It's going to be bye-bye Affiliate WP, guaranteed. I've already said goodbye to ACF Pro, Custom Post Types UI, all of the block plugins. Bye. It was nice to know you in 2024. A lot of other things disappearing. I'm still keeping the CRM, the WP Fusion, even the WooCommerce related stuff, because that's still very important. But a lot of the other stuff disappears because the dudes can just make this easy. We can have them dynamically generate the features we want into simple HTML5 CSS, and then sometimes the core plugin. Okay. From a sales standpoint, from what you focus on, it's going to be imperative at the end of this year going into next year that you spend your time focusing on marketing and creating content, and building human relationships. And to that end, I've started to do things like the FluentMCP, as well as the skills and the things that connect to it. So besides the MinuteLaunch, which is the core plugin, I want to also discuss the issues of what's FluentMCP. What does this mean? What have I already been able to prove with this? Okay. The normal MinuteLaunch AI is my business. This is what over the years I've been doing to solve this entrepreneur's problem, right? People with Frankenstein monsters or shiny ball, aka little old lady swallowed the fly syndrome. In the past, I had done that with the software bundle and my personal help and systematizing things like IKEA. But what I just suggested to you being true, I found that doing the intermediary work is no longer necessary. So we're getting rid of that whole aisle in the store that has shovels and picks and tools for humans. And we're replacing it with a bunch of tools for your favorite robot. Because when the tool that works for you becomes trained, it can do crazy stuff. But you don't have to train it. You see, I'm going to train it. And here's an example of how. Now, I'm not saying you can't train it. I'm saying you don't need to train it. Here is an example of what will become probably as part of this. Thank you, Marie Kondo. Next couple of weeks towards the end of the year. If I did a search for something like sales pages, I have specific skills based upon research and real clients of how to build the best sales page layouts possible. I have this in a format that can be handed off to your dude. I'm just going to call him dude, even though it could be dudette. That means that your LLM, your agentic tool, does not need to guess. It does not need for you to spend a whole week or a month learning how to do stuff. You'll notice on this page, I've got a bunch of sales page layouts, right? It says like a menu, number 8, lead magnet opt-in. And you can see it's just a wireframe. Number 7, video sales page letter. It has instructions for you or the LLM how to use this, but this is for your dude. So when you take a page that has a skill and you have either the MinuteLaunch AI full-blown dude, all the capabilities, all the whatever, even if it's, you know, not with the AutoMem, just I'm saying all of the customized tools, the skill and the dude with all the tools is literally, I hate to say it, smarter and faster than all of us. I wanted to make a version of that that was capable of being bought by you guys or by your clients. That's a one-time purchase. This is a relationship with me. This is $197 a month. You build and you create, you keep it as long as you want. And if you leave, you take everything with you, but you can't take my MCP special tools. I've discussed why. It's like with Apple, you can buy a phone, keep the phone, use the phone, sell the phone, but you can't open up the phone and change the hardware. I mean, people have tried, but like from all practical standpoint, Apple doesn't support that. That voids the warranty. You don't get to modify the iOS operating system. You can build any software that runs on an iPhone, but they don't want people monkeying around with the core. And I think that's because of the common sense here. If I'm producing something that is capable of being smarter, better, faster than all of us, I'm not building that part, but like I'm building the connection tools. It's not really a good idea for me to make that part of it available for everybody to monkey around with in at least the branded format. I mean, you guys, by the way, if you want, go out, do what I did, learn how to do this and make your own. But as far as me offering it, that's where if you leave, you keep all your data, you keep everything, you even keep the MinuteLaunch canvas block. So, you know, you lose nothing that was created. It's just that it's a service for the AI part. You do keep all of the traditional plugins, but you lose the service of the ongoing updates. This is something that most people like to do, and I like to have in a relationship. I want you guys to be with me, and I continue to build and create and support cool things. The other value proposition here, which is not to be overlooked, this is fully hosted, optimized. This has unlimited me, Spence. So even at the 97 a month, but without the AI, 197 with, this is like Spence, ask a million questions if you want, as long as it's, you know, kind of one at a time via email. I mean, if you're obnoxious, I'm going to tell you. Nobody's been obnoxious yet, by the way. It's like a friend. You wouldn't call your friend up and go, hey, here's an Encyclopedia Britannica of stuff. Give it to me by tomorrow. I mean, some people have sort of crossed that line, but I said, can you bullet point this a little bit? Because I'm just not going to be able to understand what you're talking about. So this is a relationship. This is a one-time. This is like buying favors for your office. Okay. I took a subset, 3 key elements, actually 4, with 2 bonuses. I took the FluentCRM, the FluentCommunity, the FluentCart. Then I added the WordPress key publishing features, by the way, including support for HTML5, or if you have it, the Canvas block. You can get the Canvas block if you're part of MinuteLaunch, and you can give it away to your clients. Great. The block is something I'm willing to give away as part of the deal. Point being, I think a lot of you guys might consider grabbing one of these or several of these to go for the future, because this is lifetime. This is one-time purchase this weekend. And you know, because all of you here, at least the ones I see in the today, are part of the MinuteLaunch AI Club. And I did that as $250, one-time shot to join. And then very quickly, I filled it up with about 197 people. And I'm like, this is gone. Bye-bye. All you guys are good to go, grandfathered in. But the point was, it's now $2,400 a year, you know, $197 a month. So if you grab this, this is interesting because it is capable of being used for yourself or your clients and sold to them on a monthly basis, but you've only paid for it once. So for example, 10 sites at $14.97. And by the way, somebody's probably going to ask, but I'll just beat you guys to the punch. I'm not going to play games with like discount pricing, because what I'm saying is this is the first offering of this product. It's not like it was being sold for $5,000 and it's discounted 30%. I'm simply saying, I guarantee this is going to go up in price. I mean, it just historically has never been the case otherwise. Everything I've ever done, from launch flows to all the various standalone products, FluentCommunity Customizer, all these things that I did as standalones, including my services. I introduced them low, get interest, get people using them, make them awesome, and then I raise them to match the value. So if you get this now, it's interesting. It's $1,497, but you have 10 domains that have something that for life, somebody can have a fully functional, powerful site that has a dude connected. And I actually threw in the capability to do 90% of what most people do. I mean, to be fair about it, you don't get Spence support with this, and you don't get hosting. So I could be very generous with how much the tool is capable of doing, and I have been, as I'm going to show you in a second. He can go full Monty on probably 90% of what you and your clients want to do. The other thing I wanted to demonstrate was that by giving a one-time sale, it's part of the sales and strategy for what the modern world asks for. There are a certain subset of people in the world who are your clients who are like, listen, I don't want to pay you monthly $197 a month or whatever. And let's say an average person stayed 3 years. That's $2,400 times 3 years. They're like, but I'd gladly pay you $20,000 today. In some cases, this is a business reason. Like I am very proud to help a lot of 501c3s and a lot of public educational systems or private educational systems, New York City school systems through my client friend, Fred, or tons of charitable organizations, 501c3s. In fact, several of them bought this today. They have a budget. They can't do monthly. They're not allowed, and it doesn't work with how their businesses operate. They have to pay the money up front that year or they lose it. So notice what I did here, and this serves you guys as well. They can buy one site, 3 sites, 10 sites, pay one lump of sum of money, and then I can give them a la carte an annual hosting budget, $600, which is still a really good deal. It's 33% less than if they, bought it elsewhere. It includes unlimited email support. So in other words, what I was able to do is, like you guys are going to do, take the thing that I'm doing monthly and bundle it up. You can only buy it as a year, but you can buy it as a year. Concierge support, still hourly, but you can buy a bunch of hours. I've had several people already take advantage of this. They can stow those acorns away for the spring or bury them in the ground. Okay, so 2 different types of products that are based on the same stuff. Having an agentic tool, Claude or Cursor, having personal service, having hosting. All of these products have built-in affiliate relationships for you. FluentMCP is 20%. That's significantly generous when the product sells for $500 because it's like 97. I keep wondering what the hell it is here. Hold on. It's 97 times 3. Or here, if I do this, I'll do the way. If I do 997 times 0.33, it's something like $327, whatever a third is on that. But it's not like 97, 327, and then 1497. I feel like I'm a math moron today. 1497. It's not that 33%. That was wrong. Sorry. There. 297 on the big one, and 997 is 197. Oh, so it's 97, 197, 297. Thanks, Spence. That's really generous. Like if you sent somebody over in the next 3 days to buy this, you're going to be paid consequentially. I mean, it's not a small amount. Even better on the MinuteLaunch AI, similarly, right? Like $20 every month is $240 a year. $40 is $480 a year just for sending somebody over, and I do the rest. But what you probably will end up doing is actually doubling this, and you be the contact person for your client. They just pay for the platform. Okay, so let's pause because I'm moving my way. Notice I'm still pretty chill. I'm normally like all strident voice. Today I'm trying to keep it chill in the feel. Got a system. Doesn't require you to do all the crazy setup anymore. You've got a dude that you and I and your client, we can all talk to through an interstitial thing. What the hell is interstitial? Intermediate. I'm going to show you something here. I think I can do this one. Julie, I don't think will mind. Let me see if I do here. If I do to GitHub, Julie Clark. Julie, I hope this is okay because there's nothing here. Let me see. This is the workspace that Spence and Julie have, hence the name Spence and Julie. Julie has her guy whose name is Partner. Spence has Fernando and Bernardo. Okay, thanks, Julie. You're very generous. I appreciate you. Bernardo, Francisco. I have my whole team of Latin guys. This is how we interact. Yesterday, Julie and I had a really nice meeting, and we talked about things where I was helping her with the new development based upon the things I just showed you, like with Neil, and I was able to talk to the dude. If I go here, you can see. Notice it's funny because, like, if Deneen is watching, Deneen has a guy named Junior, and Junior writes me letters, and Deneen passes it along, and he thinks I'm his dad. He might be right. I'm not sure. I had a lot of fun in my post-divorce days. Hey, it's Spence, your daddy. And I'm talking to Julie, and I just dictated, right? Julie was there in a Zoom call. I dictated all these instructions to him so that when Julie sat down and talked to Partner would know what the hell to build and why, based upon what I had learned from other clients. I want you guys to think about this for a second. If you thought of these virtual assistants as real people, which they sort of make me wonder sometimes, I am running a virtual agency here out of, Chicago, Illinois, where I'm able to deliver the smartest, fastest, best helpers for your business in the world. And yet they'll stay with your business. I'm just giving them to you as like interns, and then they can join your company and stay with your company. But I can give them all of the specialty skills and knowledge that they need, as simple as just sharing a link. And I mean, I really want you to think about that for a second, because I spent the better part of the first 17, 18 years in WordPress teaching people all of these things and I love this, and I love all you guys for this. I would repeat the same thing 9,000 times. That's how I got good at it. I won that award from, I mean, it's funny. I love this. From Fathom. I love people. I love all you guys. But if I go to Fathom Video, I've got this badge it's like I'm in Vegas of how many points I keep getting because I'm on the phone in the Zoom all the time, right? Look at this. I have 404 points. There's my call with Julie, by the way, which is relevant. But I keep just having phone calls. And this data is interesting because let's say Julie and I have this call. I can take the data from that Fathom call and I bring it in using one of our tools. So her guy, my guy, our guys, the training becomes better. All of the things Julie and I talked about, and I think I can do this, by the way, because there's nothing in here, Julie, that is going to be, not, whatever. Fathom does the transcript. I can go to the transcript here, or I can copy the transcript, or I can use the MinuteLaunch tool to bring this in. If I go to the back end of MinuteLaunch, which is my playground here, I think I have the Fathom tool. Here, MinuteLaunch Fathom. Now, it's actually on. So just think about this. Julie and I had a meeting, and this is a little bit like 2001 Space Odyssey. We went into the shuttlecraft and we closed the door. But Hal could actually see through and read our lips because, Julie, you do this. Okay, so this is fantastic. So number one, I've got a tool that I built that, thank God, the Fathom's API pulls all the data into the WordPress site that I can use for my dude to know about, right? Julie, you're awesome, by the way. Julie really is very on top of all the cool stuff we do, right? So this is the raw data. And this by itself isn't the point because I don't use this part. This is just saying I pulled the data in for context of the dude. What really is interesting, if I say view call, I built a special interface here that lets me work with this. Now, I don't know, Julie, if you're using this tool, but this tool I haven't really perfected yet. But it lets me look at, this is another call, for example, from, I haven't synchronized. So this is just another one with Alyssa from way back when, but you can watch the original recording or share it again. So it's kind of cool because it makes it convenient. I don't have to go into Fathom. But then I've got the transcript, and then I built this thing where I can ask questions like, what did we really talk about? And it's connected to the LLM of your choice. You can go all the way up to the modern sonnets and Opus, but it will give you answers that are then saved and stored in your WordPress context. So again, this is like having a dude who works for you, who could listen to the meeting, whether you thought he was listening or not, and then can work with the information, reading your lips here, to give you back opinions and thoughts about what to do next. And he can give you summaries and other things, which then become part of, like with the GitHub, the things that he can use to build with. Okay. Why do I love all of this? Well, if you really think about it, we now have a methodology that doesn't rely upon so many other people. I've got a tool that you can either get your clients to subscribe to, either hands off or hands on by you, and get paid. In addition to the things you do, by the way, you have a one-time version of this that's the same stuff, just a smaller subset. So essentially, nobody is left in the cold. If my client doesn't want to pay you monthly, Spence, okay, fine, buy one of these things. Can you please buy some now? Because my kids need to get their Christmas presents. No, I'm kidding. Because I'm going to raise the pricing. I'm just telling you, I'm going to raise the pricing. And then you're going to look back and go, oh, can you give me that price, Spence? I'm going to go, no. Because I told you right now, please buy some of these things and store them away. Yes, you can bring in anything because you can manually copy and paste. And when you say Zoom, I think, John, you mean Fathom, because it's not connected to Zoom. It's connected to Fathom's API. I just want to be sure that we're on the same page there. I can actually show you how that works. So if I go into MinuteLaunch again, I haven't done this in a while, but if you go into, I built the tool. And again, I built so many tools. I've forgotten all the tools. If I go to all calls, there's an import feature. I think it's here. Maybe it's in settings. Here, notice I put in my key for the Fathom. See where it says view all calls? And then there's a sync option, hourly, daily, weekly, etc. And then there's the nuclear, yes, please sync now. So let's sync now. Okay, good, John. I just want to make sure it's not, I don't know what Zoom does. I know they can record calls, but boy, I love Zoom for Zoom being the connection maybe, but like beyond that, forget about it. Okay, so I'll double check because I'm rounding around back to my other plugins and eliminating some things, which I'm going to mention in a second. But when you sync, it should show you which things are synced here. And if this isn't working today, don't worry about it because I just haven't used it in a while. It doesn't mean it doesn't work. It just means it's got to sync. So I can, you can kind of see up here, see the little spinning wheel. What goes up must come down. After a minute or so, it will probably synchronize. I'll come back to this in a second. Let's mention, by the way, Spence is coming back around. Let's talk about some things that are important that are different because this is relevant too. This is the MinuteLaunch Plugin Manager version 4.13, 4 being the operative term. I have learned so much from your generous patience as my club members hanging out in my backyard, making, hold on, there's Deneen texting me. Please get on the live call. I'm on office. Where's now? Okay, so Deneen is actually sending me, she's one of my favorite people here too, like you guys. She's sending me text messages, which I'm going to give her the video and tell her to get on. So this version 4 and 197 of you gave me so much information about building platforms and systems. I have to admit, I've never built those before, but I felt confident enough to do it. That means scalable platforms that can operate for thousands or tens of thousands, I hope, of people, and build something really awesome here. And what this means is that the MinuteLaunch AI plugins, as you guys know, are virtual plugins, most of them, except when you go to the physical plugins, which currently that's the Canvas block. So as I mentioned, in order to bulletproof these things and make it deliverable, I needed to give everybody the block that they're publishing into so that they can essentially keep everything they made. That's why Spence style, by the way, Spence style, which is right here, Spence style is going bye-bye today. Oh, Deneen is, say hi, Deneen. If you're listening, say hi in there. Okay. So Spence style is going away this weekend in favor of the Canvas block. If you still have Spence style doing anything, please get your stuff out of there, because otherwise I'm going to have to manually go back and put in a temporary thing to help you out. I just hope you get out of there. But I learned so much on building the platform, not only in the mechanics of all the tools and the MCPs, but also in distribution. So this, you'll notice, has this like check for updates active. It previously had a token. And I mean, I learned so much about, like, I took your guys' sites down like 30 times in the last 2 weeks. Sorry about that. The other day I was having a triple whammy day where I was helping Neil with his new thing, building the new version of the MCP connector for Fluent, and I was trying to get this platform running, and everything crashed. 197 sites went down. And I was really testing my mettle as an entrepreneur. But I did come to a new conclusion, and let me show you what that is. So if we go over here to no, actually, that's not. I'm going to show you what's the new thing. I got to do it from a different location though. Hold on. I came up with something that you're also going to get this weekend, which is the version 5. Don't worry about the versions. I'm just saying it's different. So I think this is on Insta. So I also have to Marie Kondo a little bit, but I use InstaWP for these throwaway sites that I can test as a client. I think this is it. It says test 5, test 5 server client. I think that's probably the right site. Okay. Here, notice this is version 5. You kind of almost can't tell the difference, but there's a big difference. This takes the physical block, takes the virtual stuff. It makes it more of like my launch kit original setup. Fast, light. It installs from a dedicated server. There's no tokens. Buy tokens. Why? I don't need the tokens. I basically have what they, if you want to call it a registry, like if you're going to a wedding, it's a list of all the people and the gifts they're giving you. I know who paid and who didn't, who's a member, who isn't. I don't need you guys to be bothered with a token. But more importantly, it has an ability not to be taken down when I go to update stuff, because what I learned was geek warning. I learned that GitHub has like a limit of 5,000 tokens a day, even if you're on premium. And since every single one of these 200 sites was banging away with every single plugin, I was like 50,000 tokens a day, and I had no idea that was a thing. Now I know. So I decided to put up my own optimized CDN server. And okay, so back to the point. This will be updated, and one of the things that will happen is Spence style will go away. Another thing that's going to go away is this ML design clone. Why? When you have the dude or dudette building stuff, you want to be able to say to them, hey, go to this website and check out the design and get all of the colors. Because if you do that, then you get a pixel perfect clone. Well, we can already do that with these well-known published tools that work with Chrome called Chrome Developer Tools. This plugin here was originally a way to bridge that gap when I was still doing the first versions of things and I didn't know any better. But now I know a better way to do it. So you're going to see ML Design Clone go away. You're going to see Spence Style go away. Video scripts still useful. Launch Kit MCP still useful because that's essentially the traditional software bundle. But now you can have your dude manage your plugins, which, how awesome is that? Why should you have to check for updates? I mean, you can, but why not have the dude do it, right? See, the dude has instructions, and you could just be like, hey, make sure all my plugins are up to date. Okay. And then finally, just because I'm doing housekeeping on this part, this is the part that Deneen is my dearest friend. She really needs this for Junior, because Junior is, Deneen, why don't you post one of the messages into the chat here, if you can, about Junior's messages to Dad, because I think that's hilarious. I mean, I can do it too, but it'd be funnier if it comes from you. So Junior's saying, please, I was having a great day all day, and then I can't figure out how to programmatically blah, blah, blah. Like he keeps asking these technical questions because he and Deneen have been working. He's really pretty advanced. But the problem is he doesn't have the tools in his walkie-talkie. So the Claude MCP and the Cursor MCP were my original walkie-talkies. They were the things that connect your desktop to the WordPress site with a series of tools that it can do, like a walkie-talkie with the special flashing lights or the Morse code button. As I built out this new tool, this new product here, FluentMCP, I gave you a little hint a moment ago, I was making it super awesome, more awesome than it needs to be, as you'll see in a second, because it's basically using a super powered walkie-talkie that's going to be universally useful for both MinuteLaunch and Fluent. In other words, the walkie-talkie for Fluent is the same as the one for MinuteLaunch, and it's got everything under the sun, including the knowledge of how to work with MinuteLaunch Canvas Block and all these other tools. And that was because I also learned to kind of streamline and simplify what I did. So you're going to see MinuteLaunch Claude and MinuteLaunch Cursor go away, and they'll be replaced with something called MinuteLaunch MCP server, or no, it's just be called MCP, just MinuteLaunch MCP. So we don't need the difference between the two anymore. We're just going to have one that's supercharged. Okay, Deneen says she can't at the moment. I'll post for Deneen. I'll give you an example here because this is funny. Junior is quite a kid. We're going to send him off. I can't. Here, I can't put all these because some of them are pictures of her screen, but here's like, oh, actually I can. Hold on. I'll post this into the chat. This is like some text, but here's an image. Let me see if YouTube will take an image. I don't think it will. Let me see if, I don't know if this will work. Oh, error, try again. YouTube's not even happy with that. I'm going to show it on my screen. So Junior was sending me these things. Let me see. Where can I post this? I don't know. Let me try to put it up here. Text editor. He said this. That just looks horrible. Why can't I just do a basic document? Sorry, I get sidetracked on the stupidest little things. Just give me a text editor, quick edit. Oh my God, can I just do online text editor? Let me see. Edit pad. I'm going to give up on this part. There we go. Junior says, hey, Dad, the ML Canvas MCP shows 173, but when Phoenix tries to use them, I don't know who Phoenix is, they return. So all day long, she'll send me these messages from him because he's literally trying to do the thing he has to do. That was my whole point. Okay, so just around the corner on this, and we'll check back on Fathom. And then I want to get to like some, some hands-on stuff to show you what's possible today, because it's already at the level of awesome sauce. We're going to have a new MinuteLaunch MCP. Get rid of cursor and Claude. Canvas block 305 is awesome. It's the core of everything. You keep that. The client keeps that. It works on FluentMCP and MinuteLaunch AI. The Fathom, did I lose it or is it here? Let me see. One of these is Fathom. Let's see if the Fathom thing worked out before I timed it out. By the way, too, I didn't spend a lot of time with this Fathom tool. I just built it and it worked, so I didn't bother with it. But I'll go back around and see if I can improve it a little bit. I just had other higher priorities, I think. And also worth noting, these little timeout things are just, that's because Rocket is set to be like trigger happy sensitive. If it goes like 30 seconds over anything, it's just like, sorry, we're going to cut you off, which is kind of a cool thing. But let's see if it actually synced. Yeah, November 28th. So if I go back over here and I view the call, we should see Julie's call. I think there it is. So this is like where I started before. Look, if I want to watch this recording or share it, I can just click. You can't see it, of course. It's opening up a Moto window. I don't know why I can't show that because I'm showing just the browser. But there's the whole transcript, and then I can ask questions, and I get the summary, and then I can use this again. So this is John's question. If I want to import it, you can just put the stuff into your all calls, or you can hit the sync button. I mean, I don't know if you're talking about something outside of Fathom, but if it's in Fathom, it'll just bring in the old ones. You know, you can see. John asks again. Yes. Okay. So this is important. I'm going to go to a different screen sharing here, I think. Let me switch. I'm trying to think how I can do this. Let me first show you before I switch screens. One of the differences, John's question is a great one. When I first built the Claude MCP, what was awesome at the time, I thought, was this concept called a DXT file. That is, you just download a file, and with 2 clicks, it installs into Claude. Really simple for normal folks. When I made the cursor version of this, right, which is kind of weird to say it this way, but like if you wanted to add your Claude MCP and use cursor, which you could, it just gave you a PowerShell command that kind of did the same thing, but it gave you a block of 10 lines of stuff that you can essentially not have to edit your config file. Since then, I think most people have become comfortable with editing their config file. And I'm going to show you what I mean. When I did the cursor MCP, it has that config file. You'll see it in a second. This is still the original stuff that is. So like here's cursor. And if I go to cursor, you'll see that config file is just, oh, actually, I take it back. And this one is the same thing. It's still a PowerShell. I was hiding the complexity of like 10 lines of code. Okay. I don't care anymore. Here's the new methodology with the MLMCP. And I'm showing it to you in the FluentMCP because it's just going to be exactly the same. You go to setup and install, and this is demo server, so I don't care that you see my password. And it literally just says, copy this configuration. And here's the whole configuration. I mean, it's just a snippet of text. No big deal. Then you open up your your Claude desktop, or open up your cursor. And by the way, there is not a third choice right now because there is really no desktop agent for ChatGPT. And if there was, they would probably make it into a very cynical, evil to work with kind of tool, because I do not like whatever they're doing with their normal stuff, the way it talks, the way it acts. It is counterproductive to everything I try to do. I don't know what's up with that, but I love Anthropic. I love, using other tools with cursor. I have not had good luck with ChatGPT. I mean, in other contexts, maybe, but not for this. So you take this snippet, and then let me reshare the screen. I hate to do this, but I have to do this for you guys. Let me share. I'm going to do the whole screen. This is going to get ugly real quick because it's going to be so big. Sorry, kids. Okay. I'm going to set up things a little different so you can see my buddies here. Because we're just chilling. We're chilling out. Okay. On the left is cursor. And I'm also, by the way, I am really zoomed out. So it's probably impossible for you to see this. So I'm going to zoom in. But I just want you to understand, like, I'm on a giant screen. And so for me, it's not that hard to see what's going on. If I do too much, I lose the sidebar. So I'm trying to keep the sidebar. But you have this nice fly out sidebar panel for the agents. Okay. If we wanted to configure cursor, I'll start with him. We click this tool here, and it says cursor settings. And then this is where I'm going to close the agent panel. Or I'll drag it over a little bit. And we've got the tools setting here. And again, I don't know why this has the sidebar thing, so I'm going to close that. You can see all of the tools I've got. Now, this is worth mentioning because it's kind of geeky, but cursor is so awesome because cursor has a lot of, I can use unlimited agents. Claude is still me and one Claude desktop. I mean, that's the way it is. So I have, you've seen me in other videos. I have 20 guys working for me all the time. This is the one that's writing the FluentMCP. And I was doing some unit testing. One of the cool experiments you might have noticed is normally cursor does not like you to have more than 80 tools. I think we have like 170 tools here. So if I turned on by flipping this toggle switch, all of the tools, the new tools for this one site, it triggers this message at the top. You have 145 tools, man. More than 80 tools makes me freak out. No, that's what I say. But like the point is, it's too many. So I worked on a method that, well, what if we could just turn off some of the tools? And so I broke it up into 4 groups. FluentMCP WordPress, FluentMCP Community, FluentMCP FluentCart, FluentMCP CRM. If I turn off the cart and the CRM, look, I'm back into happy land. And all I need to do is turn on and off the switches. Pretty neat. Here's what the setup looks like. If you click on this, I don't really mind. These are all test sites. Notice all I'm doing is just focus on this little snippet at the bottom. If I copied this configuration and I paste it to the bottom, here's what you need to understand. Think of pieces of bread. 2 pieces of bread on top, 2 pieces of bread on the bottom. Okay. So see how I'm going to make a little like dashed lines. Okay. Can you guys see? I know it's really small here. There's 2 pieces of bread on the top, and I'll put more lines in, and 2 pieces of bread at the bottom. Okay. The 2 at the top, I don't need because I've already got them. If you look to the top of my file, I've already got those 2 pieces of bread here. Okay. If I look at the bottom, I already had those 2 pieces of bread here as well. So all you need to do when you add another one in is you just essentially delete your extra bread at the top of your new thing and the one that was there before, and you put a comma in. And then now it can add on to the bottom. And then you do the same thing at the bottom. You can just use the bread that you had at the bottom because you took out the other one. And now I've effectively added, let's say, another MCP into this. Now, again, we'll cover this and I'll have step-by-steps and it'll be easy. But like the cool thing about this is that this is universal. This is the same thing, and I'm going to undo this now so that I don't break what I had set up in my demo, this is the same thing in Claude. Let me show you Claude. Okay, so I'll pull Claude up here. Hello, Claude. Nice to meet you. He looks about the same because notice I styled my cursor and my Claude to be very familiar and similar, and that way nobody gets lost. With Claude, instead of the DXT file, you're just going to click on your settings and you're going to go to manage connectors and then developer. I mean, you can get here another way, and then you click edit config file. And when you do, you will be given a screen on your Windows or Mac that will reveal to you where the config file is. Notice there's the config file. And I just open it with my text editor, or in this case, I use an IDE tool, a developer tool called, what the hell is it called? SS. I can't think of the name of it now. Sublime Text. And same thing, right? I paste. I take the 2 pieces of bread off the top, and I take the 2 pieces of bread, I can leave at the bottom, but I just take these 2 things here, boom, comma, done. I've now got this connected to Claude. I have to save it, but that's all you need to do. And so that's going to be as easy as it needs to for anybody. And here's the neat thing. If you do this and you do it wrong, the guys know how to fix it, which is really cool. Because, for example, if I was working with the guy and he was just, whichever the dude is, and he was just lost, let me open him up a little bigger here. I could just tell him, like, I don't know what I'm doing. Can you help me? And I could paste into here. It could be, you know, paste this thing and go, you know, hey, dude, I can't figure out how to make my config file. Can you show me what to do? And he can actually merge the 2 things together. And I'm not going to do it because I don't want to break what he's got, because I'm going to use them. And he can give you the clip that you need to paste. Okay. So that's actually another cool example of how things could work. All right. Let me give you some practical things that are awesome right now. And then this is where I think that's enough for today. But like, I want to overstate. I want you guys to either get some people on your list to go out and buy this stuff, the FluentMCP for sure, before it goes away to a new price level. Or we can talk more about MinuteLaunch AI. MinuteLaunch AI, I'm not really doing, I don't need to do any sales or specials on, because it's already, I think, a ridiculous value. But I do want you guys to understand that the goal here is that moving into the next days, weeks, month or two, I have at least 6 or 7, 8 verticals that we're building out for people that have audiences of hundreds or thousands of potential buyers or clients for whom this stuff is going to be great. Here's an example of what I mean. I have here a demo site that's InstaWP, FCC Manager. It's one of these here. So it's just an InstaWP site. And by the way, I know this is all a little small, so sorry about that. He's connected. I've been working with him. So this is Silvio. Hey, Silvio, it's Spence. Listen, you're live now on my Friday office hours, and I want to show folks what you can do because you're connected. You have right now, I think, 2 of the 4 sets of MCP tools connected. Are you still connected to my demo site at FCC Manager MCP? Even without any special tools or memory or anything else, he is here to help. And so imagine you have a client and you just want to do some awesome stuff, and the client is lost us to WordPress, right? Like, you can immediately set this guy up that the client bought or you bought for the client one time from my special here, and you're going to blow the client's brains. I mean, they're going to be like, I cannot believe that this is possible to do. When you combine it with, like, you could have an intermediary thing like I did here with Julie, and your guy can work on its thing, you go even farther. I did this weekend with one of my clients here, Ashley. I don't think I'm revealing anything here that I haven't shown. I'm very protective of my customer stuff, but I want to see if I'm not logged in anymore. But like, if I go here, Ashley, we set up the FluentCommunity and was able to do remote diagnostics with my dude talking to his site. There's a video of it this week that'll be in the summary that comes out later today. So since he can do anything, he already just said right before this he was making a page. You've seen me make pages 7 ways to Sunday. That's not remarkable by itself. But he can do more. He can style things like the community site. He can install plugins. He can do stuff for your client that is way beyond the value proposition, right? So let's see here. I think you've got the WordPress tools on. So can you list out all the plugins that are installed in the site? So I want you to think about this as a value proposition. Like you have John, you're definitely on this list. You have clients that are like, I don't know, John, like, I don't know what I want to do with this stuff. Can they afford $497 for something that they will lock themselves into that is going to do all this crazy operational stuff today? I think they can. Can they afford to buy one time the hosting and just a year in the thing and they're in for like $1,000, but that breaks down to being more power than they could have ever done to run their business and all the marketing and crazy stuff. So like, look, he's listed out the full ecosystem on this demo site. Can he add new plugins? Of course he can add new plugins. Can he modify all this stuff that I know is in the powerful tool I put into here so that it's going to be very, very compelling. He's got, including other stuff like file manager, which he can use for making things, but just at the basic level. Let's pretend, let's not pretend actually. Let's see, you've got FluentCommunity. Can you adjust the color of the FluentCommunity site settings as if I was a new customer of, say, our friend John Lawler? Lawlor. So what he can do is I've given him the tools to set up the color scheme. Notice it's kind of orangey now, like MinuteLaunch. He's going to go try to find your signature branding. I think maybe he's pretending because I don't know if he would know your signature branding, John. And he's using the tools, trying to figure them out. Let's say he's picking ocean blue because he doesn't know any better. Let's refresh the page. Ta-da, it's ocean blue. And if you never use FluentCommunity, that's inside of here. You can do design colors. Where is that? Manage. Customize colors. I don't know why they decided, let's put the button way up in the right-hand side. I have no idea why they did that. So he picked the ocean blue. He can also do custom colors, which is what he did before for me, where he selected like, you know, MinuteLaunch. Set up a new space called John Lawler, Lawlor space, and then add a new member user called John Lawler's client. And it's John Lawler's client at test.com is the email. It's Lawlor. Okay. So this is where, let's say you guys are working with a client. You could show the client how to do this stuff, or you could do this for the client without having to have any special skills, or you can train and make a skill document like I showed you at the beginning for your guy, or use mine on how to do this. You've got a guy, they've got a guy. You can share the knowledge that you create together, or you can use the skills that I've created for your guys to do the things. And the walkie-talkie one-time purchase now has the tools in it for your guy, their guy, our guy, all of the guys to do this kind of work. He's now created a new space. I have several pages of spaces here now. So let's see if it's alphabetical order. John, there it is. John Lawler space. No posts found. Let's see if there's a member. John Lawler's client is now a member of this space. I can't tell you how awesome this is because I love the dudes in real life at WP Managed Ninja. Their interfaces make me wonder what is happening over there sometimes. Like I said, when you go to settings, good morning, Zachy. I can show you my live, dude. You want to be on camera? Why customize colors was bolted on into the upper right corner of this thing is beyond me. But that's the kind of stuff that when you're using these tools as awesome as they are, you're like, what the hell is going on? Like, how do I train somebody to do this? It's like, if it's Tuesday morning at 5 o'clock, the controls for turning the car on are in the glove box or something. All right. This fixes that problem. So got a client, added a space. This person could be added if I turn on the tool to the CRM. Okay, love you too. All right, Denise is saying she's great. Please fix him soon. I need to keep working. Indeed. will do today. This is why this weekend is chill. You guys are going to have to accept that between today and Sunday, I'm going to probably break or change a bunch of stuff. That's why I'm giving you a heads up on it too. That's why you're in the club. So what else could the person do? Well, there's things like he could set up the logo. He can use the tools that we have in MinuteLaunch for making AI logos. He can make pages like I just showed you. He can create courses. I think I haven't tested this yet. Hold on. I've never tested this yet as part of the unit testing, but FluentCommunity has the ability to make courses inside of a space. Can you confirm that you can do that? That's why it's chill. Hang in there. Denise is doing some amazing stuff. So she, like me, is very excited about it, but sometimes it's overwhelming, I think. So I've given him the tools, I believe, to publish the courses and the lessons. For a lot of clients, I think that's a big part of what they want out of a WordPress site. Make products, sell access to courses inside of a community where people can talk. I mean, that's all of us, right? So it's interesting where it says spaces tools. Oh, well, okay. So this is fascinating to me because there is an option inside of the space to do those things. I just haven't enabled the API. So I'm going to show you something. This is under the hood of me. If I go to FluentCommunity API, they've got this wonderful API that allows me to do properly things, and it's got courses. And I'm just going to ask him a question. Don't build this now because I'm still on a live event, but do you see, here's the API. Are you sure we didn't build these tools already in? If not, I don't know why you missed it. Can you add that to the list of things we'll do as soon as I'm done here? So this is how my day goes when I'm working with Silvio. And so he's checking himself to see if we actually built them. I thought we had built them. No, we did not. Okay. So that's something I'll add today. But let me ask him what we do have. What other tools do you have that are neat inside of FluentCommunity for an example of what we can demonstrate to people you can do? And again, it's not really super important for me to show you exactly what to do here because all I wanted you to understand, and we can wrap up on that, is the overarching theme, the methodology, what is happening here is that I feel like my next 20 plus years, but definitely the next weeks and months, are what if we took the awesomeness of owning and controlling WordPress, whether it's for you or your client, we offered it as a monthly service with human support, relationships, a la carte or built-in. We offered a one-time option at a great price, and that the dude or dudes that connect can start doing all of the hard labor today because I've given them the proper tools, the skills, the training. Those things make you valuable as a 59-year-old plus. They make you valuable as a person with knowledge of something that most people do not know about but are starting to hear about. They make you valuable because you can build complex solutions with dynamic, interactive front ends, personal web apps, without having to be an expert or worried about being stranded, because I'm here in the relationship where we can connect directly through our dudes or the system. And more importantly, it all comes with the personal guarantee and promises that I always give, which is I am a human being trying to better my situation in life by helping others, because I think we all as human beings can make an amazing, incredible opportunity into the reality we want to live in. The opportunity is right now, this fork in the road is not just work and WordPress. I'm talking about the world. There's a subset of gajillionaires that want us all to be stamped out like ants at a picnic. And I mean that sincerely as a capitalist. You can just see it in the way they talk. We are just literally a bother to them. The rest of us now have tools like this that we can interact with each other and make the world awesome. A place where everybody wants to live and enjoy like the 1990, 2001 era, like where that movie I watched, Serendipity, was, where nobody was worried about the oligarchs, destroying them or the world or anything. The whole tone of the movie, the conversation was so light, and it wasn't perfect because obviously 9/11 was coming around the corner. But I mean, I'm saying, like, things felt differently than now. And I feel like this is my chance to give you guys the ability to spread one-to-one the same thing and do it in a way that's value driven. So I don't want to sound preachy, but that's the whole purpose of all this. Okay, so he's got this cool stuff: instant rebrand, AI content factory. Okay, well, let's try this. Hold on. Let's take number 2. Let's pretend that John's client, who has that new space, had an interest in photography. Can you make an AI content factory, in bulk create 20 welcome posts for a new space? I don't know what you mean by welcome posts, but what I mean is, what if you made a bunch of posts that were related to photography? You can go search the content or the topic or just make something up. But the idea would be you managing the space to keep it interesting for new members by saying, look at this cool stuff. And because you can run the space, I'm presuming, you can dole those out. But just to show that you can do it, pump them out right now. Okay. And you can keep them short and sweet and HTML if you want, but the idea is just to give us an example. So this is a use case where I've shown in the past, you can have a dude who researches this topic for, like my guy does my content calendar. He, she, it can just make all the information, make the posts, make the follow-up, make the automations that will keep it interesting for somebody who joins your space, based upon either searching the internet or using, like Fathom, the stuff that you bring in from your own experiences with other clients, or a mix of the two. Since it can also create imagery or get kind of cool video content and embed it, it's going to be as good or better than anything you could do manually. Because right now, manually, for example, with FluentCommunity, you cannot do HTML5, but you can with him. We had to bypass that stuff. But we trust it because when he's running it, it's obviously not some phishing scam or something else. I mean, it's coming from only a specific password-enabled lockdown thing. So he just made 20 photography posts in seconds for John Lawler's space. Let's see. Notice he's got new posts available. Welcome to Photography Excellence, Golden Hour Magic, Rule of Thirds Explained. First of all, this is cool because he did it really short, like I asked. But like in photography, I love photography too. There's all these contents topics that are fascinating. Books to read, share your work. Like he just made in seconds something that would entertain your audience. And I know something about this, by the way, because if I go to Facebook, I got Trek Pilot Social. I have an 11,000 person social network that I started in 1999. Okay. I don't know if I'm in the right profile. I'm at, this is the page. I want to go to the group. Let me actually see if I can switch over to that. This is the page. You can tell how much I use Facebook for this now. Hold on. I got to go into, you'd think I'd done this before. Groups. Nope, still doing. Facebook challenges me every time. Here we go. 12,000 members, right? I would have thought that I'm joined already, but here, 12,700 members. I'm probably going to do something with this using the new tools. I've just sort of avoided, but this is this cool machine that this is what got me into technology. So I have almost 13,000 members here. I used to run this on a different platform. That's how I got into development, but this is really ripe for all the cool things you can do. Imagine if I built a new community and now I have these cool features that are both AI and topic enabled. But see, he's able to do all this stuff for me, and he can elaborate on stuff. And let's do one example, and then I'm going to say, let's hang it up. Okay, let's do some example of you can go out and get images or content with trikes. No, I'm sorry, not with trikes. That was a mistake. You go out and get content with photography. Get some imagery about photography and get an HTML5 layout that you put together, I should say, that also includes an embedded YouTube video. So just search out and get any YouTube video about photography. Put that together in the same style that's the blue ocean colors, and give us an example of how you could jazz up one of these posts to make it really useful and interesting. My point is, this is what he can do once I enable that too. I'll do that this morning. The courses and the lessons and the quizzes, right? Like, he can do this for posts or pages. He can do it for products. He can do it for inside the community. Imagine he can run the publishing. He can be creative. He can do your calendar. And then you set him up. Just check in the morning, like, hey, what's going on? How's the group doing? Did you approve the members? What's naughtiness? I have a real life person who helps me do that, by the way, in TrackPilot. I had to have a guy come in to help me run the community because I was too busy with my other stuff. So over here, let's see, where's the dude? This guy, Job, helps me run the community. He's awesome. I don't talk to him all the time. I haven't seen him in a while, but like, I got some group experts and I got some people who help me run it. And Job does a great job because I think it was like at 11,000 something when he took it over to managing it, but he loves doing that. And so that's the kind of cool thing that I'm going to keep Job here, of course, but like, this is the kind of thing that's cool because now I got a dude that can do it for me over in this group. All right, so he's finishing what he's doing. Does this make sense? And thank you guys for sharing with me today. All right. He created a new guide. I'm not sure why this truncates. Let's see if that's an actual URL. We did. Okay. So it's not super sexy, but you'll notice he can make it sexier. I think he actually made a mistake here because I'm guessing that he didn't use the override. Let me just see. I'm going to ask him. I mean, you actually did the job, but could you make it sexier with the HTML5 and jazz it up instead of just, you know, content only? A couple of moments ago, we reviewed the fact that, remember, you've got the formatting that allows you to bypass for HTML5 the posts inside of FluentCommunity. Can you use that here? So again, we programmed into him this super capability to override what is normally the limit of what he can do. And I just sort of remind him, look, oh, you're absolutely right, Dad. I'm listening for my real son. Are you there, Zachy? Okay. It's good to have everybody around on this chill weekend, literally, because it's very cold out. Okay, let's see if he kicks it in. As you guys know, I have been making extensive use when I make my stuff today of the media library AI tools, right? Creating AI images. This is what I use almost every day for everything I do with Canvas and otherwise. And notice I was making some Black Friday images here. Some of them better than others. That one I didn't use. That was just weird. This is one I used. He got Black Friday to block. That's always still a problem. These are some weird ones. This is one I used the other day. So I love this tool. This is one of my favorite tools. Having all these images available to me is awesome too, because it's iterative, right? Like, here's a client friend of mine, Harry, who actually looks exactly like that. I don't look exactly the same, and Fernando's a little weird. I was experimenting also with the new Google Gemini Nano Banana 3, which does really good images, better than 2.5. So I will be updating the tool so that you will be able to have that capability, right? You'll be able to use the latest tools as well. All right. And this is the last thing I'll do. Let's see what he did. He updated this thing, and let's see how he did. Oh, I'm going to ask him. Can you please give me clickable link to whatever you did? If he doesn't give you that, sometimes it's hard because my copy and paste may be truncated from here. So just ask him to give you a clickable link. It says post not found. So maybe he hasn't published it yet. It says post not found. Can you check your work and make sure you published that actually? And let's look in John's space. It could be in the feeds too, but let's just see where it's at. Oh, there it is. I found it. So notice what he was able to do. And I personally think this is the most remarkable thing of all. And I think this is the stuff that, and I'm going to just talk turkey with you guys. Everything with FluentMCP works with the free plugins. So nobody has to buy anything extra, but you could pay for the extras, again, on Black Friday from WP Managed Ninjas. I'm not including any of their software in here because some people were like, well, what if I don't want to do that? Okay. So with their free plugins that he can install, by the way, from the repository, you can make something that's this awesome. I mean, come on. Awesome. 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 Come on. Look at how awesome this is. You cannot do this normally. Okay. I got to take a moment because I'm a little verklempt. I've got a plugin that connects the dude. You can buy 10 of them and dole them out to your friends that instantly in 2 minutes, they have a website that can publish any gorgeous content, create courses, create lessons, create pages, create spaces, create community, make products that sell the stuff. It does all of this and you own it to dole out or rent to people for as little as $149. Forever. This doesn't take away from what you do with MinuteLaunch AI because that's a relationship where you've got Spence and the hosting and all the other stuff. This is just this one product, but look at how incredible this is. You guys are not going to make this on your own. Okay, I'm not going to make this on my own. He just made a complete guide inside of a post, inside of a space, and scheduled out 20 pieces of content about how to master your camera, visually appealing, with other styles, I don't even know what he did here, but like, come on. And then you could join the discussion, right? And so this is inside of a space where there could be members and people can talk about the things that were just created. It's game changing. Okay, I'm going to go back here. And I'm going to say goodbye to you guys because this has been awesome. I want to say I'm super grateful at this time of year for the opportunity to be alive and at this moment in history, literally, to have the last 45 years of being an entrepreneur and all the things that brought me, be part of the thing that makes me do this, right? And I will do one more thing for John here in a second. I'm grateful because you guys are here helping me and sharing with me and letting me sell you stuff that gives me a livelihood that I can afford to sit here and do more of this stuff. And I think it's very important to all of us. So I just don't want that opportunity to be lost. I'm genuinely, sincerely awe-inspired every morning of every day. And by the way, I did an interview with my friend Mark Szymanski, and it was crazy because his editor made me look like I'm more wired than normal. And it was awesome because it was like an hour and change of talking about these topics. I'll link to it in today's summary email. But thank you very much. I sincerely thank all of you for being part of my life and my business. John says, can you do a comparison with the same request using Claude? Yeah. I haven't set Claude up, but I want you to understand something while I still have this connected. Actually, you know what I'll do is I'll do a follow-up because this is an hour and a half, but I don't want to go longer. But today I'm going to test. This is Claude. It's Sonnet 4.5. It's the same exact brain. So it really makes no difference. The only difference is that when Claude is connected, you're just talking to Morgan Freeman, and I've got Silvio and Francisco and Bernardo and Fernando and all these dudes working for me, but they're on Cursor. But guess what? They're still using Sonnet 4.5. So I will, John, I will do that, but I'm going to wrap it up because I think this is getting long in the tooth. Hope you guys will consider buying one or more of the lifetime things, because I know one thing about myself. I'm a Scorpio and I love you guys to death, and I sometimes will break the rules, but I'm telling you, just so that I later feel guilt-free, buy it between now and Sunday, because if you don't buy it and then I double or triple, quadruple the price, whatever I could do, or take it away, don't ask me for it again. Because I'm going to tell you, I made it very clear that this was the deal. The deal is it's not discounted. It's starting at the cheapest price that I think represents the value. And what I just did right there, come on, $147 for the rest of your life for a site that you can use for your own businesses or for your clients without me involved. If you don't see the value, then I don't know if we're on the same page, but I can't imagine that's not true. I love you all. Thank you very much. Great questions today. John, thank you as well for your extra questions. And I will do a follow-up because I'm going to add the coursework stuff in, and then I'm going to show a video setting these guys up. One thing I want to mention too, as part of that process, I'm going to be making the skill documents, and I am thinking of, let me ask one question, John, whoever's still here. I'm going to be doing, I had an inspiration and I wrote it down actually. Here's what my inspiration was. I said, this is like 5 in the morning, $97 1-hour group classes using AI as a Gen Xer in the modern world. What I mean is, I'm thinking of offering a 1-hour group class. It could be 1.5 hours. It doesn't matter. Let's say 1 hour though. Instead of $300 an hour, it would be how to use all of these tools in a Gen X world for yourself, for your clients, for your business, and just charge like a workshop. But in the past, I've done workshops. I charged $297 and it was 3 days. I was like, what if I just make like a $97 and I show up and everybody shows up and I have a specific agenda of how this has really revolutionized the way I do things. And I mean, literally outside of the scope of even the WordPress stuff. I'm talking about how I'm using these tools for the Marie Kondo life that I dreamed of, right? Like, it's taking care of paying bills. It's taking care of doing my medical updates, taking care of managing stuff with my schedule. I think that might be interesting. So I don't know if you guys agree. I'll send out a note of it, but I'm thinking of actually doing a lot more of those workshops that are just 1 hour. And I send it out to my list of, 4,000. If you are a boomer, you will be allowed in. If you are a Gen Z, you are allowed in. But I say it as a Gen Xer. I should probably say as a Gen Xer and older. I sometimes think of you as a Gen Xer, John. Because I do think our mindset is different. When I watch these movies from the 90s, 2000s with my kids, they do like them, but they don't understand what the hell's going on. Like, my kids were all born in 2001 and beyond. So, I mean, okay. I mean, the idea for me is, you guys seem to be responding. If I just said, look, it's $97 and it's like an hour, hour and a half, kind of these things, but I'm just focusing on an agenda, and it'll be in a community, by the way. I'm going to put them into the new FluentMCP, or maybe in the MinuteLaunch as well, so that you guys can continue to get to them. But it'll be like I just did, but it's going to be like, this is how I'm using this stuff daily and how you can use it, because it kind of feels like the value's there, like I'm saving. You just watched me do stuff that I couldn't have done, let alone in 2 minutes. It feels like the more you know, the better. And these are bite-sized chunks. So yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Anyway, love you guys. Thanks for all your questions and your support. Have a wonderful, relaxed weekend, and I'll see you on the next video.